Today I will be drawing with crazy art restrictions. The first one would be the classic one-layer drawing challenge. I know traditional artists are about to say it's not really a challenge because we do this all the time. But as a digital artist, I've gotten used to drawing with many layers. So basically what I'll be doing here is to paint over the layers, just like how a traditional artist would do, starting with the base sketch and details. So I'm going to draw the sketch, paint over the sketch, and then add details and edit, and hopefully it doesn't look like a 5-year-old painted this. The sketch is looking kinda off. Let's just skip the line art and start with a base sketch instead. Now that I have gotten the scope of the one-layer drawing thing, it's not looking so difficult anymore. I made sure I arranged the layers like I would if I painted on an actual canvas. Like the skin shading before eye shading, and the eye bag shading before the lashes. So I think that's like an easier way to do this. Although I might have made the canvas a bit too big, I'm just going to cut that part out and focus on the details. I'm trying as much as possible to avoid using the eraser because then I'll be able to avoid erasing an important detail. In this challenge, the undo button is my buddy. It's not looking bad. So I'm just gonna go right ahead and add the details that'd make the art pop. Also, I'm trying to mimic the shadow stuff so it looks more realistic, if that makes sense. It kind of looks like she's crying. And oh, I almost forgot the highlight in her eyes. The remaining details is not even a challenge anymore. It's just like I would draw on a normal day, and since there isn't much rendering with the hair, I won't be doing too much either. In fact, I might just be doing too little. Anyways, this first challenge was definitely a breeze. I'm gonna rate this a 7 out of 10. Moving on to the next challenge. The upside down art. I genuinely do not know how I got this idea, but the fact that I thought of it means it must exist, right? In this challenge, I'll be looking at the reference the right way, but drawing upside down. I think this challenge is fun because it itches your brain. In a way, I can't explain, man, but it's definitely more difficult than the last one. I'm not sure if I should do a line art or just go right ahead to the base sketch, but kinda needs some kind of a guideline to follow, because of course the art has to be similar with the reference. Well, I think we can all agree that previous sketch was not it. It definitely did not look like the reference. So I decided to use those 2 red lines to mark out the eye and the thumb. And yeah, I think it pretty much fixed my sketch, and it's a whole lot better. For some reading, I keep flipping the shades. So I'm gonna use the base sketch to figure out where the shading should be, and I'll figure out the rest, hopefully. Genuinely, if you're not confused while watching this, you must be a pro artist. Also, I know that the hands are off-ish, but I don't want to keep erasing, so let's just leave it that way. I have to admit, I have a glimpse of how the art looks whenever I add a new layer. Now, that shouldn't count as cheating, should it? Let's assume it doesn't count. This artwork almost made me lose some brain cells. But like before, the finishing isn't so difficult now that I'm done. Let's see how it looks like. Except for the fact that I randomly added this, I would say it genuinely not bad. I rate this a 6.6-ish. This one is definitely a common challenge, and I'm sure I've seen people do this a few times. But I might have mentioned undo button being my buddy earlier. I kinda have to let go of my buddy now. To replace the undo button, we have the eraser tool. I'm kinda craving the lollipop at this point. I am going to say that I have noticed that not using the undo button doesn't affect me as much when I'm doing random rendering. Just like when I'm doing detailed rendering and I need to undo a mistake, and now the only option I have is erased. The time it takes to choose a tool, go to eraser, reduce the size before you can finally erase, I don't know, takes a lot of time. I gotta admit, digital art has made it easier for one to draw, but it doesn't mean it's easy to use. And I use my fingers to draw. I've gotten so used to digital art, I sometimes try to undo while drawing with paper and pencil. So many times, I can't even remember. Anyways, I'm done with the basic rendering, and now I'm moving to the rendering of the detailed areas, like the little bit of scratch you see on candy that shows it's like melted sugar and those tiny bubbles that got trapped when it was getting solidified. Yeah, those kind of details. It's a bit difficult for me to do them without the undo button, so I just don't bother to erase either. Whatever happens, happens. And I can finally say I'm done. I'll just adjust this a little to make it a bit more round, and yeah, I'm done. I think it's actually really good. I rate this a 6. Yeah, I just know I'm not going to enjoy doing this as much as I did with the other ones, because what do you mean I can't zoom? How exactly am I going to render? And to make it worse, while I'm making the line art, my finger is literally covering my whole screen. I can't. I think it's even more difficult because I'm not using a stylus. But it doesn't mean it's going to suck because the line art isn't looking bad. So I'm going to move to the base sketch and slowly try to maintain painting within the lines and not outside, so it doesn't look like a complete mess. To avoid scribbly shading, I'm going to shade line by line. Mind you, I'm holding my phone in a weird position because I'm rotating the phone physically instead of the canvas. If you notice the canvas moved a bit, yeah, I might have mistakenly moved it a bit, but forgive me, it wasn't on purpose. Now, for the final rendering, although I'm not sure there would be a difference with the base rendering, I'll just be following the reference a bit more, although there won't be detailed rendering. With a little rendering I can do, it should not look too bad. I mean, it's looking like a hand. Maybe just not a human hand, but it's a hand. Now, I'm going to rate this a 7.5 because I think I did pretty well. And I don't know if I'm happy or sad to say this, but we have finally reached the final challenge, drawing with my non-bonnet hand. I think it's pretty obvious. I don't use my left hand as much because I can't even manage to make a single curve line. It's almost like it's doing a thing of its own. Trust me, I'm genuinely unable to control the chicken scratch lines I'm making right now. But it does look like an avocado. Moving to the so-called line art, but it's not a line art, but a glorified chicken scratch sketch, seeing that I won't be able to make a clean line art. Let's move to the base rendering. I chose this reference for my final challenge because while I was scrolling on Pinterest for a good reference for this final challenge, I found this very inspiring, very drawled avocado, and in the comments sections, there were a lot of other artists that loved it as well and decided to make an artwork from it. So I decided, why not do it too, but with your left hand? Very inspiring story. I should be a motivational speaker or something. I think you'd notice at this point that I was starting to enjoy this. I came to peace with the shabby rendering. In fact, it could be an art style. It doesn't have to be exactly like the reference, you know? And it kind of looked like those oil paintings that a rich person would go, "Whoa, such pretty art, let's place it on an auction or something." I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but look at the progress I'm making. I almost forgot I was using my left hand for this. Anyways, let's add the final details and erase the shabby little lines I started with. Watch me make the juiciest avocado seed ever. Wait, can avocado seeds be juicy? Oh yeah, no, I guess not. Watch me draw the oiliest avocado seed ever. I'm actually so satisfied with the way this turned out, it looked worse in my head. This is genuinely the first time an artwork turns out better than I imagined in my head. So let's finish this artwork with the little extra detail that's not needed but very necessary at the same time, and we're done. What would you rate this artwork, and what challenge should I try next?